the Supreme Lord, Va, alternately, Idam, this Vishwam, manifested universes, Amoga Leelaha, one whose activities are spotless, Srujati, creates, Avati, Atti, maintains and annihilates, Na, not, Sajjate, is affected by, Asmin, in them, Bhuteshu, in all living beings, Sa, also, Antrahitaha, living within, Atmatantraha, self-independent, Shat Vargikam, endowed with all the potencies of his opulences, Jigrati, superficially attached, like smelling the fragrance, Shad Guna Ishaha, master of the six senses. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord, whose activities are always spotless, is the master of the six senses and is fully omnipotent with the six opulences. He creates the manifested universes, maintains them, and annihilates them without being in the least affected. He is within every living being and is always independent. The prime difference between the Lord and the living entities is that the Lord is the creator and the living entities are the created. Here he is called the Amoga Leelaha, which means that there is nothing lamentable in his creation. Those who create disturbance in this creation are themselves disturbed. He is transcendental to all material afflictions because he is full with all six opulences, namely wealth, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. And thus he is the master of all the senses. He creates these manifested universes in order to reclaim the living beings who are within them suffering threefold miseries, maintains them, and in due course annihilates them without being the least affected by such actions. He is connected with this material creation very superficially, as one smells odor without being connected with the odorous particle. Non-godly elements, therefore, can never approach him despite all endeavors. Before we discuss, we'll say the pranam mantras. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadam Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapatakabalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lita Shri Vishakanvitam Shah Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Vanchakalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya Eva Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we have been discussing about the different avatars, and of which Krishna is the source of all incarnations. And we read from different scriptural evidences, even from Brahma Samhita, where Brahma himself says that Ramadi Kalani Yamina Dishtam Nana Avatarama Krodh Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramah Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That Krishna is the source of all incarnation. He is the Bhagavan. Bhagavan means he is he possesses all the six opulences. What are the six opulences? He is all wealth. He has all wealth. He is all powerful. He has all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. So even if you see like these five, then you might think that, oh, he's a great person. But the main thing is he is all renunciation, means he really is not attached to any of his opulences. So even here in the verse it says that he creates, maintains, and annihilates this universe without being the least affected. That is the law of his renunciation. So he and then he is the Bhagavan. Krishna is the, and even the couple of verses we read, right? Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam means that that verse is considered to be the topmost in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, because it encapsulates the whole purpose of Bhagavatam, which is why the sages have assembled in Naimisharanya to know more about Bhagavan, because they know that it is the devotional service that will deliver them. It is the one that gives them the utmost pleasure, not any other processes. So that's why they approached Sutta Goswami, and Sutta Goswami, he started narrating what Sukadeva Goswami told to Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, when he was about to leave his body, he did not waste his time. He did not say that, oh, I will give this kingdom to my son, that kingdom to make sure that that is taken care. No, like he said that, okay, I only have 7 days. That is not enough, but I will do my best. And he went to the banks of the Ganges and sat there. And having known about him, all the sages came there, and nobody was um, giving him any, because they felt that they are not qualified. But when Sukadeva Goswami walked in, everybody gave way to him, because they knew that Sukadeva Goswami is the topmost of all the people, or the sages and the learned men who were present there. And Sukadeva Goswami took the Vyasasan and he started narrating the Bhagavatam in the 7 days. And Parikshit Maharaj, after listening to those Bhagavatam, he went back home, back to Godhead. So we have more time, right? We have but we don't know what will happen. But any moment that we have to use it to become Krishna conscious. Bahunam janmanamante gnanavan ma prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha means many lifetimes we have spent, but only when we come to the point that Vasudeva sarvamiti, understanding that Krishna Vasudeva is the ultimate source of everything, then we get the opportunity to become Mahatma, means which is the great soul. We have spent so many millions of lifetimes. We were in one of the Sunday programs recently, we were discussing, and one devotee who recently came and started listening to our lectures, and we say that getting a human form of life is very rare. We have to go through 8,400,000 species of life. Even when science, if you see, they say that they were trying to calculate how many different species are there. They came to around 8.1 or something, but initially they said 6, 7. Now they came all the way to 8.1. But if you see, the Vedas are already saying there are 8,400,000 species. Species means not the number of living entities; it is the different kinds. So human beings is one, like that ants is one, like insects is one. So those are the different kinds of species. There are 8,400,000 species. Even different kinds of trees are part of it. And he said he asked ChatGPT to see how many lifetimes, how many years it would take to pass through all these 8,400,000 species, because it is said that only if you pass all these 8,400,000 species, you will get the human form of life. So he said that maybe I don't remember number, but 400 million or maybe 4 billion or something lifetimes. So if you see that from these many lifetimes, we have been going through all the different species, and finally we got this human form of life. When we got the human form of life, what do we do? Do we continue to be in the animalistic life, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, or we understand what was the purpose of the human life? It is said that in um, Hitopanishad that unless and until we take up the process of exploring the self-realization, then we are no different from animals. And if you see in the nature, the animals, are they living a happy life? Before coming to Krishna consciousness, I used to like observing nature. And when I go and sit outside, I feel like, looking at the birds, animals, I feel when there is some stress in the office, I feel like, oh, these birds or animals are having a very nice life. What if I'm a tortoise, or what if I can live for 140 years, or what if I was a bird happy? But if you see the National Geographic or the Animal Planet, those kind of things, and the wild nature, they clearly tell that nowhere in this universe, in this nature, any animal is living happily. It is always in anxiety, because in nature, one animal has to depend on another animal. Jivasya jivanam means it is constantly being afraid of predator. Do we want a life as an animal where the moment we wake up, we have to be in anxiety, what animal will come and eat us, and we have to be, so what is that anxiety? In back in India, in some states, there is a saying that when you look a hill from far away, it appears to be very smooth, but only when you come near, you will see all the ruggedness or the roughness of the hill. So, and then it is also said ignorance is bliss. As long as we don't know something, we can always content ourselves and say, oh, I'm happy. But just like I was thinking that, oh, these animals are having a happy life. But once you go in and see that how much anxiety these animals are having, we would not even want to have that kind of life. So the opportunity that we have in this human form of life, we have to use it to, even in this human form of life, we constantly have anxiety, but it is a little bit better because we have the ability to have better living, better housing, better defense, and all. And so the consciousness is higher. But do we stay there, or do we, when we get a promotion in office, do we um, not take the additional responsibility? If that is the case, of course, in the current corporate world, they fire that person. But in the little bit, a few decades back, they would again send back to the previous position, they demote them to the previous position. So in this life, if we are not taking up Krishna consciousness, not even taking one step towards self-realization, unfortunately, we will fall back into the animal species of life. The moment we fall down, the Prabhu who found out, who was new to Krishna consciousness, we will take another millions of lifetimes to again humiliate him. So, Neha Abhikramo Nasosti, Swalpamapi Asya Dharmasya Trayato Mahato Vayad means even if we take one step in Krishna consciousness, it will save us from the greatest danger, which is uh, getting a human form of life again, which will continue our endeavor. And there is no like, oh, I'm now 40, I'm 50. Should I take Krishna consciousness? The sooner the better, because as the more we spend time with our consciousness attached to material things, the more difficult it will become. And the fact that we came to Krishna conscious now means that we have done very much pious activities in the past. The Krishna says that, or Sukadeva Goswami says that the Gopa boys that who are associated with Krishna, they have done so much pious activities in their past, which is Krita Punya Punja, means because of the punyas and other bhakti activities, they had so much. So even like for us, the fact that we came to Krishna consciousness compared to so many other people who are just engaged in these four activities, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, we have to understand that we have done so much pious activities in the past, and due to the mercy of other devotees, that we were here. And then those are all good, but how do we, um, and if we want to look at these verses that where Krishna is the source, we understand he is the Bhagavan, means he is full in the six opulences. And little bit more technical in here is what exactly is the relationship between the living entity and the Bhagavan, right? So Bhagavan has two types of expansions, which is Swamsha and other one is Vibhinnamsha. Swamsha means he expands himself with equal potency, exactly like another Bhagavan. And the mood will be different. So he expands himself as Rama, he expands himself as Balarama, Narasimha, Vamana. And if you look at the analogy that was given, they are like if you go into a room with full of candles, every candle is giving the equal amount of light. But of course, there will be first candle, which is Krishna, and those are called the Swamsha, means expansions in the same potency, same level of potency. And there is also the Vibhinnamsha, which means that he also expands where in terms of quality they are equal, but they are by quantity they are not. So even a candle or even a fire, you will see sparks of fire, or even the sunlight, you see sun rays coming. They are in quality same as light, but by quantity they are not as powerful as the light itself. So we are all, the living entities are the Vibhinnamsha. And in terms of energy, there is also the dull material energy, which is the God created for these different living entities who want to enjoy independently to have that facility. Basically, the Vibhinnamsha, there are two categories of the living entities. One is as soon as the living entity came into existence, they are eternal. There is no time where we did not exist, but we always existed as Vibhinnamsha, either attached to Krishna in his body, or separated like us right now. Out of those, all those separated, 3/4 of the living entities voluntarily wanted to serve him. So they have always been in the spiritual planets even now, which they are called the Nitya Siddhas. 1/4 of these living entities are they, as soon as they manifest, or as soon as they came into existence, because which was never a time, which is difficult to envision that. But as soon as the living entity is described as the Vibhinnamsha, the mood has been to enjoy independently. I don't want, like a father, Prabhupada gives an example. A father and a son, the son says, Father, I don't want to live in your shadow. I don't want to live in, I want to enjoy myself independently. What will the father say? He will force the son and say, no, you have to stay with me, stay in the house only. No, he said, son, go ahead. So same thing, like he gave this facility for all of us to enjoy. And here, basically, then every living entity is coming here and trying to enjoy. What will happen? Obviously, there will be disturbance because I want this, you want the same thing. And since it's one thing that we both of us want, only one of us will get it, and other person will become envious. And so the fact we were first envious of Krishna, then when we come here, we are envious of each other. And in that envy, we are dragging ourselves more and more with the anger, lust, and all those other things. Our goal should be to go back home, back to Godhead, because this multiple times Krishna is said in this that this material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam, because we are all trying to have our own self-interest. And it's like if you draw two circles of two centers, and the circles will intersect with each other. And similarly, if I draw a boundary around myself and say this is mine, this is me, this is mine, and you draw a boundary around yourself, this is yours and this is your everything that is there that belongs to you. And wherever there is a common area, does it belong to me or does it belong to you? Then that's where the conflict is. But if we all work towards the same, which is that we put Krishna in the center, then the circles won't intersect, right? You can draw infinite number of circles, but they are all with the Krishna in the center. There is no conflict. So that is the goal. As if we work towards Krishna consciousness, even in this current lifetime, we will be able to see the symptoms of Vaikuntha appearing around us. So even the pure devotees, wherever they go, they carry Vaikuntha atmosphere along with them. So then we understand that the living entities are the Vibhinnamsha, means separated expansions. So we had the Bhagavan, we had the living entities, and the living entities are nothing but Brahman, because even Veda says Aham Brahmasmi, where this energy of the living entity is no different from the Brahman. But what exactly then is the Paramatma, which is Krishna is describing here, where he is in every living being and he is independent. So how is he independent? Independent, we already understood, he is Bhagavan, he has nothing to do, and he is within every living being. What does it mean? That's the concept of the Paramatma. So what Bhagavatam says, which is this going to be, we already described in the discussion in chapter 2, is the learned sages, the learned men describe this absolute truth in 3 stages. Vadanti tat tattva vedastattam yad gnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate, means the absolute truth is 3 categories. The Bhagavan, the Brahman means even Krishna is Brahman, we are Brahman, but there is the Parabrahman, which is Bhagavan. But how can the living entities who want to enjoy independently have any activity? It is only when Bhagavan expands himself as Paramatma and he comes. We living entities don't have any ability to act also. We might think that I'm lifting this mouse, lifting this flask, I am doing this. No, I am just desiring to lift the mouse. And it is Paramatma seated within the heart and giving the direction to the material nature to lift the mouse. So the only ability that we have is to desire. If I desire to go to office, it is the Paramatma going to make sure the three modes of material nature arrange for me to get up, get ready. This whole body is moving through them. But we as living entity, what we think, what is that verse? 3.27. Prakriti kriyamanani gunaih karmani sarvasaha ahankara vibhudatma kartaham iti manyate. Means we think we are the doer, but it is actually the Paramatma who is granting and the three modes of material nature that is doing. And as long as we think we are the doer, what happens? All the results that come with the activity also come to us because it is our desire to do that. And the only way that I think it's in this verse or the next verse. So yeah, so if we take the shelter of the Supreme Lord, then the karma will all be taken away. So that is the key. So the living entities are the Vibhinnamsha, and then the Bhagavan expands himself in the form of Paramatma also to come and make sure every activity is taken care. and it is done to the three modes of material nature. And what else? I took some notes. Yeah, we covered the fragmental parts, Sanatana. Yeah. So Krishna is also saying that even in the Katha Upanishad, it is said that Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Va Yo Vidadati Kaman. Means among all the eternal beings, Krishna is the supreme eternal. Among all the conscious being, he is the supreme conscious. And he is the only one who is maintaining all the living entities without being even a little affected by it. And what is the analogy given here? Like when you smell a flower, the fragrance, are you touching the flower? Even the flower is a little bit far away, you feel the smell, right? Similarly, it is Krishna. He's everything is his energy only, but he is not impacted by it. All that what the demons think, they create disturbance in this world and think that, oh, I am impacting the Bhagavan. I am Bhagavan myself. Like we saw Hiranyakashipu thinking that he is great. And even if you see that he became so gigantic that all the material world became tiny in front of him, but he thought that he now has control of the whole material world. But he became he became like an ant in the palm of the Supreme Lord. So, and then when he tries to attack, he just falls down to the earthly planet. So you see, basically that he is the one that is manifesting, maintaining everything, and he is not even impacted by this whole thing, because it is the opportunity that he gave for us to go back home, back to Godhead. And if we are not using the opportunity, then as his expansion, as Ananta says, he becomes angry. Because if you we discussed in the previous thing, right? It is the Balarama's mood to always serve the Supreme Lord, and Balarama means Ananta Sesh, and this whole universes are balancing on his hoods. And it is said that at the time of annihilation, he becomes so angry that the whole universes get burnt up to ashes. Means like they filled up with all, get burnt down. Why he becomes angry? Because he gave the opportunity to all the living entities to get out of this material world. But if we don't use that, then obviously he feels very angry that why I gave so much opportunity, but these guys are not using. So he consumes the whole universe with fire, and all of us go back to Mahavishnu's body. And again, after some many years, another breath, which is millions of years, we again get another opportunity. And why do we have to go through all these things? We have to go back home, back to Godhead. And this whole yeah, ultimately it comes down to us only. Do we want to stay here, or do we want to go back? If we want to stay here, we have to use our senses and the mind to work, and then get the karma and take care, or endure the results of the karma, and take life after life. But if we turn our head towards the Supreme Lord, then Krishna says that Ananyas Chintayan Twamam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhayuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. So once the living entity turns their head towards the living Supreme Lord, then he comes and takes over. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, right? Sarva dharman parijjaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papabhyo mokshayishyami masucha. Means you might be having baggages of karma from the past, but the moment you turn to Krishna, then he immediately burns off all that karma, whether they are in the seed state or like as a plant state or in a fruit state. Everything gets uprooted or everything gets burnt off. That way, we will be going back home, back to Godhead, even in this life itself. So essentially, what we have to understand, uh, that it is our duty to go back home, back to Godhead. We living entities are the eternal parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and our real happiness comes only if we are in association with the Supreme Lord, not anywhere else. And basically, this concept of the living entity is also mentioned because everybody will have the question, okay, Krishna is great, what is my relationship with the Supreme Lord? It is, in terms of quality, we are the same, but in terms of quantity, we are different. And how does the super soul act? Means it comes back to our free will. You might be thinking, okay, why does this happen in the material world? I'm doing so many things. Sometimes I get the result, sometimes I don't get the result. Same thing is Bhagavad Gita already mentions everything, which we know that there is a time, place, circumstance, or everything. So Bhagavad Gita says there are 5 factors that decide why we get the results the way we get. One is the body, means are we in the right place, right time, right circumstance? Are we qualified, means in doing the duty? Are we using the right instruments? Are we using the right methods? And even if we are in the right place, right time, right circumstance, and even if we are using the right methods, right instruments, unless and until it is the 5th factor, which is the super soul Paramatma that grants it, it will not happen. So if somebody is looking for a job, they might be in the right place, right time, right circumstance, and they might be qualified in terms of all the degrees that they have or the experience that they have. They might be using the right tools like LinkedIn and all, and they might be also using the right methods of reaching out to their network. But ultimately, if the Supreme Lord is not granting it, they will not get. But if you look at the other way where Krishna says Yogakshemam Vahamyaham, even though we are in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong circumstances that don't be conducive for us, even if we are not qualified, even if we are not even using the LinkedIn to find jobs, and even if we are not having the right methods, we are not relying on our network, if we take complete shelter of the Supreme Lord, then Krishna says, I preserve what you have, I carry what you lack. You will get a job. But the thing is, what I mentioned now is the 100% reliance on Krishna, but we are not there yet. So how can we reach that level where Krishna will come over and take our life entirely and we don't have to worry about anything? We have to take a process, which is the sadhana. Means, what is the sadhana? Means practice. We can't say that, okay, I'm in the kindergarten, I'll get the 10th grade, right? We have to pass through all the grades. So similarly, for us to reach that level where Krishna takes complete control of our life, we have to take the process. That process is the chanting, which is the process given by in this Kali Yuga. It is mentioned Kali Kale Namarupa Krishna Avatar, means Krishna took the avatar of his name in Kali Yuga. And if you see in the what is the in the material world, if you say, if you are thirsty, if you say water, 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 will your thirst go away? No, because the actual water and the word water are different. But in the spiritual world, which is the spiritual entity, the holy name and the Krishna himself are non-different, which means that if we say the Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, the Maha Mantra, then we are invoking Krishna's name, and actually we are associating with Krishna, and he will clean off all the impurities within our heart. Cheto Dharmachanam. So our goal should be to take this process, purify ourselves, try to reach to the level of complete shelter on the Supreme Lord. Then we'll go back home, back to Godhead, where there is eternal happiness. And ultimately, it boils down to our choice. Do we want to suffer in this material world, or do we want to go back home, back to Godhead? And depending on that, the Supreme Lord will give us facilities to either live here and have conflict with others and have suffering, or put Krishna in the center and go back home, back to Godhead. Any questions before we close today's session? Okay, if no questions, we will say the prayers for Lord Nrsimhadev for the benefit and the well-being of this congregation members and everyone in the whole world, all the devotees. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Narasimham Bhishanam Badram Mrityam Namamyaham. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Narasimham Bhishanam Badram Mrityam Namamyaham. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Narasimham Bhishanam Badram Mrityam Namamyaham. Let's offer our respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas who are like desirous, full of compassion, fulfilling the desires of all the fallen conditioned souls and giving us the opportunity to have this discussion. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindobhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. We'll invoke the holy name 3 times and we will close today's session. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, everyone. We will see tomorrow in another verse. Have a nice rest of the day. Happy Krishna consciousness. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Patitapavana Balaram Prabhu ki jai.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.